Welcome to our deep dive today. You know that saying, you're known by the company you keep? We're going to unpack that today, see why it's so powerful.
Yeah, it's interesting, right?
I mean, it's such a simple phrase.
But it really speaks to something
It really does.
really fundamental about human nature.
Yeah.
We're social creatures, and the folks we surround ourselves with, they really have a huge impact on who we are and who we become.
Yeah. And for this deep dive, we're looking at the source material called, well, known by the company you keep. Kind of on the nose, right?
Straightforward, I like it.
But, you know, it really gets into some fascinating stuff, like almost like your social circles, kind of like a mirror, reflecting back to us, you know, who we are or who we're becoming.
Yeah.
But then there's that other saying, too, like one bad apple spoils the bunch.
Right.
So how does that negativity play into this whole idea of being known by the company you keep?
Well, I think that analogy, it really captures the power of negative influence perfectly. You know, our brains are actually hardwired. Oh, really?
To pay more attention to negative information than positive.
Interesting.
It's a thing. It's called negativity bias.
Negativity bias.
Yeah. And it makes sense, like from a primal perspective, you know, back in the day, being attuned to danger kept our ancestors alive.
Yeah.
But even today, you know, think about it. One single negative comment can totally outweigh a dozen positive ones.
Yeah, that's so true. Like, you remember the one bad thing someone said?
Right.
But all the good stuff kind of fades into the background.
I like our brains are like, danger, danger, pay attention. When they encounter that negative stuff.
But all the good stuff just kind of like, whoosh, right over our heads.
It does.
So this negativity bias, it can really impact our relationships, can't it?
Absolutely. I mean, think about, say you're in a workplace and there's like one person who's constantly complaining or just being super cynical.
Yeah, we all know that person.
Yeah. And that, it can spread like wildfire.
You know, affects the whole team's morale, productivity.
It's like they're emitting some kind of, I don't know, like emotional ethylene gas or something.
That's a great way to put it.
Like they're slowly spoiling the mood for everyone around them.
Yeah. And it applies to friendships, too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you're always around someone who's negative, it can just start to drag you down.
Oh, for sure.
Even if you're generally a positive person.
So it's not enough to just like be a positive person yourself.
It's tough, you know? It's not like...
You can't just like out-positive the negative person.
Yeah, it's not a contest.
Yeah.
It's more about recognizing that you have a choice in who you spend your time with.
That's a good point.
You know, healthy relationships should be energizing. They should inspire you.
Right.
Not leave you feeling drained and negative.
So true. So this is all making sense, but are there like actual psychological or sociological theories that back this up, like this whole company you keep thing?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There's a ton of research that supports this idea.
Okay.
Like one example is social learning theory.
Social learning theory.
Yeah. Basically, it suggests that we learn by observing others and imitating them.
Oh, interesting.
Like, think about little kids, right?
Yeah.
How easily they just pick up, like, phrases or habits from their siblings. That's social learning theory in action.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So basically, if we're hanging out with people who have, you know, negative behaviors or attitudes, we're more likely to pick those up ourselves.
Exactly. Even if we don't realize it's happening.
Sneaky.
It is.
But on the flip side, the same is true for positive behaviors. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're surrounding yourself with supportive folks, kind people, ambitious people, you're more likely to develop those qualities yourself.
It's true. Like your social circle, it's almost like a blueprint for your own actions and attitudes.
That makes me think of that other saying, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are.
Right.
Like it really is true.
Yeah, our social connections, they say a lot about our values, our beliefs, our aspirations. Another theory that comes to mind is attachment theory.
Attachment theory.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about attachment styles lately.
Right. It's everywhere.
So how does attachment theory fit into this company you keep idea?
Well, think about, you know, when you were a kid, how important it was to have, like, a parent or a caregiver that you felt safe and secure with.
Right, yeah.
Those early bonds, they really shape how we connect with people throughout our whole lives.
Yeah.
So if those bonds were healthy and secure, we're more likely to form healthy attachments as adults.
So the people we hang out with as grown-ups are influenced by our childhood experiences.
It plays a role, yeah.
Fascinating. But what if those early attachments, what if they weren't so secure? Does that mean we're, like, doomed to have unhealthy relationships?
Not necessarily. It's not a life sentence, you know?
Okay.
While early experiences definitely, they play a role, we're not stuck with those patterns forever.
Phew.
We can learn to, like, recognize those unhealthy patterns, challenge them, and make conscious choices to create better relationships.
That makes sense. So it's really about self-awareness.
Right.
And personal growth.
Absolutely, yeah. That's where the power comes in.
It's really interesting how, like, we're peeling back the layers of this simple saying.
Right.
And there's all this, like, fascinating research to support it.
It's amazing.
Kind of blowing my mind a little bit.
Age-old wisdom, man.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
But I feel like we've only scratched the surface. I know you mentioned, like, cognitive dissonance theory.
Yeah, there's more.
Before we dive into that, though, can you give us a quick, like, ELI 5? Explain it like I'm 5.
Sure.
What is cognitive dissonance theory?
Okay, so have you ever felt that, like, inner conflict when you're with people and their actions just clash with your values?
Oh, yeah. Like a gut feeling.
Yeah.
Something feels off.
It's like, this just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
But you try to ignore it
Mm-hmm.
or rationalize it away.
Yeah, you're like, oh, it's fine, it's fine.
Exactly. So that's cognitive dissonance making you uncomfortable. It's basically the discomfort we feel when our actions or beliefs are contradicting our values.
So to resolve that discomfort, we either have to, like, change our values to match the group.
Right.
Or we have to, like, distance ourselves from the group.
Exactly, to kind of maintain our sense of self.
So it's almost like a signal, like, maybe you need to reevaluate that relationship a little bit.
It could be, yeah.
Wow. So our social circles can even influence our core values.
It can.
That's powerful stuff. I'm also curious to learn about, the sociological side of this, too. What can sociology tell us about this company you keep idea?
Well, sociology really gives us a broader perspective.
On how group dynamics can shape our identity and our behavior. One key theory is called social identity theory.
Social identity theory.
Which basically explores how we define ourselves based on the groups we belong to.
So if you're part of a group that's known for, like, positive actions, good traits, you see yourself more positively.
Exactly.
And the reverse is true if they have a bad reputation.
Yeah. It becomes part of our identity.
Wow.
It influences our self-esteem and how we interact with the world.
That makes sense. It ties into, you mentioned another one before, symbolic interactionism.
Yeah.
Which was like how our interactions shape our self-perception.
Right. So think about it. If we're constantly around people who treat us poorly, disrespect us, we can start to internalize those messages.
Oh, wow.
And see ourselves as less worthy.
That's heavy. It's almost like we're absorbing the energy of the people around us, whether it's good or bad.
You are. Yeah.
And that impacts how we see ourselves. Absolutely.
So we really do need to be mindful of who we surround ourselves with.
It's so important.
And this brings us to, I think, another important sociological concept, peer pressure.
It does.
Which, speaking of peer pressure, I think it's time to kind of shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
And talk about how this all plays out in real-life relationships.
Right.
Especially when it comes to, the negative stuff.
Yeah, the not-so-fun part.
Exactly.
Let's get into that. So before the break, we were talking about peer pressure.
Right, yeah.
And how subtle it can be, especially that negative kind of. I think people hear peer pressure and they picture, like, those old after-school specials,
Oh, totally. Like someone being forced to smoke or drink or something.
Exactly. But it's often way more subtle than that, especially in those close relationships.
So give me an example. Like, what does that more covert pressure look like?
Okay, so imagine a friend who's constantly putting down your other friends.
Oh, yeah.
Or trying to isolate you from them. Or maybe it's a partner who kind of belittles your hobbies,
right,
your interests, making you feel like you need to change to please them.
It's like they're trying to, like, shrink your world.
Yeah.
Make you more dependent on them.
Exactly.
For validation, for approval.
That's one way it operates, yeah.
Wow.
It erodes your confidence, makes you question your judgment.
So it's not always about being pressured to do something.
Right.
It's also about who you see, what you enjoy.
Exactly.
That's scary.
Yeah, and this is especially damaging, I think, in romantic relationships.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because it creates this power imbalance.
Yeah.
And it makes it tough for both people to express their true selves.
Right, to be authentic.
Exactly.
This is getting kind of manipulative sounding.
It is.
Are there other ways this shows up, this negative pressure?
Think about maybe a partner who's always guilt-tripping you.
Oh, yeah.
to do things their way, or they use emotional outbursts to get what they want, or someone who threatens to withdraw their love, their affection, if you don't conform.
That's some serious red flag stuff.
It is. It's like emotional blackmail.
It is.
And it's scary because it's so subtle.
Right. It's not like someone yelling in your face.
No, it's gradual.
You don't see it coming.
You might not realize it's happening until you're feeling trapped.
And resentful.
Yes.
So how do you know if it's happening to you? What are the signs?
Pay attention to how you feel when you're around this person. Do you feel anxious? Drained? Like you're walking on eggshells?
Ooh, yeah.
Are you always censoring yourself?
Right, to avoid a fight?
Exactly.
Yeah, I've been there.
And what about changes in your own behavior?
Okay, like what?
Are you more withdrawn, isolated from other friends, family, losing interest in things you used to love?
Right, like you're losing yourself little by little.
Yeah, conforming instead of being authentic.
So what can you do if you realize you're in this situation? It can't be easy to stand up to someone like that.
It's not.
Especially if you care about them.
It's tough, but the first step is recognizing that you have a right to say no.
Okay.
You have the right to make choices that match your values, your needs.
So you have to remember your worth.
Yes.
And not let yourself be treated like, what, a puppet?
Exactly.
Easier said than done, though.
It is, but clear communication is key.
Okay, so how do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you actually set boundaries with someone who's used to getting their way?
Well, you have to be calm, assertive,
right?
State your limits, explain how their behavior affects you.
So, like, hey, when you put down my friends, it makes me feel disrespected.
Perfect.
Or, I'm not cool with doing something that goes against my values.
Yes, exactly.
So it's about standing your ground.
It is.
Not letting them bully you into doing what they want.
You don't have to engage in those endless arguments either.
Oh, that's good to know.
You don't have to try to change them.
Right. Some people are just going to be who they are.
Yeah. Sometimes the best response is to just disengage.
Walk away.
Yeah.
That's allowed.
You have the right to protect yourself.
Okay.
Your emotional, mental well-being.
So sometimes you have to create distance, even if it's someone you care about?
It's okay to prioritize your own well-being.
Even if it means ending the relationship?
It can be the healthiest thing you can do.
That's hard, though.
It is.
Especially if it's someone you've known a long time.
I know.
Or someone you're in a relationship with.
But you deserve to be treated with respect. To be in relationships that bring you joy.
Not misery.
Exactly.
Man, this is really eye-opening.
It is.
I think a lot of people, me included, underestimate the power of this negative peer pressure.
It's easy to overlook.
Yeah, especially when it's so subtle.
Happens gradually.
But we can protect ourselves.
We can.
If we learn the signs, set those boundaries.
It all comes back to that idea of the company you keep.
Right. If you're around people who drag you down, try to control you, it's going to impact your whole life.
But the flip side is, if you're around positive people, supportive people who encourage you,
it can make all the difference.
It can be transformative.
I like that. Choosing to be around people who lift you up.
Yes.
Instead of the opposite.
So how do we build those positive connections?
Right. And how do we leave the negativity behind?
Great question. Let's get into that.
So we've talked about the bad, the negativity.
Like the weeds.
The weeds. Now for the good stuff.
Yeah.
How do we build a social circle that's, full of flowers? The kind that make you happy?
It's about being proactive, making conscious choices about who we let in.
Okay, but how do we actually find those people? The flowers.
Well, it starts with knowing yourself.
Okay.
What are your values, your goals? What kind of people make you feel good?
Yeah, the people who energize you, inspire you.
Right. Once you have that picture in mind, then you can be more intentional about where you spend your time.
So, like, if I'm into art, I should join an art group, take a painting class.
Exactly.
If I love fitness, join a running club. Hit the gym.
Put yourself in those environments.
Where you're likely to meet similar people.
Yeah.
And then, what? Just start talking to people.
Don't be afraid to strike up conversations.
A simple hello can lead to so much.
It can.
But that's kind of intimidating for some people,
I know, it can be.
What about if you're more introverted?
Start small then.
Okay.
Instead of trying to be the life of the party, focus on one good conversation.
Just one.
Or join an online group.
Right.
Connect virtually at first.
Ease into it.
Exactly.
And it's important to remember, building those connections, it takes time.
It does.
You don't meet someone and instantly become best friends.
No, it's a process.
Like tending a garden.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Patience, nurturing,
consistency,
show genuine interest in people, be present.
Follow through on those connections.
So it's quality over quantity.
Yes.
A few deep friendships, not a ton of superficial ones.
That's what matters.
And it's okay if some relationships don't last forever. If people grow apart.
It happens.
Be grateful for the time you had.
And open to new connections.
Like seasons of life, right?
I like that.
Some are meant to be like summer, bright and fun. Others are more like autumn, beautiful but temporary.
Makes sense.
But through all of this, we can't forget about boundaries.
Right. We talked about that with negative relationships.
But they're important in the good ones too, right?
Absolutely. Essential for all relationships.
So how do we set boundaries, but in a way that feels good?
Be clear about your needs, your limits. Communicate them assertively, but kindly.
Like if your friend's always venting to you,
right,
but never listens to your problems.
You could say, hey, I want to support you, but I need you to be there for me too.
It's about that give and take.
Yes, reciprocity.
Makes the relationship feel balanced. And sometimes setting boundaries means saying no.
It does.
Even if it disappoints someone.
You have to prioritize your well-being.
You can't please everyone all the time.
Nope.
It's like protecting your energy.
It is.
Making sure you're not giving more than you're getting.
Right.
One more thing before we wrap up.
Okay.
Self-reflection.
So important.
It's about looking at your own patterns.
Your behavior.
Ask yourself, am I being the kind of friend I want to have?
Am I bringing positive energy to my relationships?
Hold up that mirror. Be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to be a better listener or more assertive about your needs.
Personal growth and good relationships, they go hand in hand.
I love that.
When you're working on yourself, you attract people who are doing the same.
So the company we keep.
It really is a reflection of who we are.
And who we want to be.
It's a reminder to be mindful of what we're planting in our social garden.
Make sure it's an environment that supports our growth, our happiness.
And it takes time, effort.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Be patient, be open, and trust that the right people will come along.
What a great message to end on.
It is.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
We hope you learned something valuable.
I hope so.
And feel empowered to create a social circle that reflects the amazing person you are.
That's what it's all about.